JT, here we are. I mean, we are, repenting for sins maybe for most of the day, but for you and me, I mean, I'm sorry, it's too good a time of year to take a day off in many ways. I mean, baseball playoffs, week 5 of the football season, hockey season is officially here as
Yes.
well in a few
Yes.
days. And so it's too good. It's been a little while since we spoke. We got an awesome Thursday night football game here. We are going to get to your Yankees, by the way. And for
Mm.
those, hopefully those of you that are catching us today, the day of game 3, let's hope for your sake the Yankees are eliminated by the time that people come to
Ooh,
consume this from us. But we're
ooh.
live. We're live at JT the Brick. We are live at Thinking Out Loud, Siciliano and Sam. And as of this second, we are now live on Instagram as well. And JT, I want to, before we get to the Yankees, before we get to a big point you got to make about the Raiders, I am also going to hit you on the tush push as the Eagles look to go 5-0. But I want to jump into a fascinating Thursday night football game that we have because this is a game that largely is going to determine the NFC West. This game and the matchup between these two teams. What do you think? Big game Thursday night. I love your thoughts on Thursday night football games, and this one looks like it could be the most significant game of the Week 5 schedule. How do you see this Niners and Rams
Ooh.
game?
Well, let's first crack Modelo.
Oh yes, and I'll
Let's
have a
have
sip here. So
thank
let's
you.
go with the Modelo.
Um, Purdy and they don't have Nick Bosa. So I don't think it shouldn't be that competitive a game, should it? I mean,
Well,
I see it being a classic. It's an 8.5 point game because half the Niners are hurt. I mean, how are these receivers hurt? Like Ricky Pearsall, how like everybody's hurt. The quarterback's hurt. Nick Bosa's gone for the year. I mean, all of the Niners. Let's have a round of applause. They have the easiest schedule. Let's bring that topic up again. So when they don't have the easiest schedule in football, like tonight, those are the games that they're supposed to lose. So I don't think the Niners are going to be competitive. No, they'll be competitive because Kyle Shanahan versus Sean McVay makes it competitive. But I like the Rams to pull away and win, not cover. But I got the Rams all night long in this spot.
so it's interesting. I was looking at this because I'm in a pool where I pick every game for each week, but it's on the opening lines, which most week gives an advantage to those of us that are taking a Monday line
Mhm.
as opposed to a Wednesday or
Yeah.
Thursday line, right? And now it's working against me because I got a
Mhm.
line that comes out when Brock Purdy's supposed to be the quarterback, and now it goes from this thing moved from 5.5 to 8.5. That's pretty massive. I mean that's a pretty big movement, and of course quarterback will do that in this league. But
Mhm.
I want your opinion on this. And we don't need to second guess big decisions that are made by coaches, but the idea that Mac Jones didn't play against the Jaguars. So Brock Purdy essentially, I mean, at this point, does it look like Brock Purdy came back too soon? I mean, it's look, you can come back into a
Sure.
game and get hurt all over again. But there was an opportunity for the Niners to have Brock Purdy sit out against the Jaguars. Mac Jones had won 2 games before that. And instead, Brock Purdy plays. You lose to the Jaguars, and now you lose Purdy for what I'm going to say at this point is the most significant game of the season to this point. The most significant game for the Niners to this point. It always was. Thursday night against the Rams was the most significant game of the early slate of the Niners schedule. And now they don't have Brock Purdy, and essentially they used him in a game against the Jaguars, which they also don't have a win for. But wasn't there an opportunity to look at this like a major bye week opportunity for Brock Purdy? Get him fired up and set up for the Rams and don't fill his brain with the Jaguars?
Yeah, I don't know. I disagree with you on that again, too. I would want to have him play if he's available, if he's cleared to play, he plays. Because they just paid him 50 plus, 53 million a year. So if he's cleared to play, you play him. But the Jaguar game, they have to travel cross country, and I'm fortunate. I picked that game. I'm not a gambler, but that I have one lock of the week, just one. I do every week, and it was the Jags. And here's why I had the Jags over the Niners. Niner injuries, and the fact that the Jaguars the week before beat the Texans, who were their mental mindset Achilles heel. Because the Texans have been winning that division by default,
Yes.
just by default the last couple of years with CJ Stroud. Now Jacksonville beat them. I think that was a massive fueling mental positivity moment for them, and it carried to the Niner game. So I like the Jaguars defense. I like their players. I'm not a Trevor Lawrence fan. Man, he is not very good. That guy might go down in history for a guy who got a rookie contract extension for $200+ million who didn't deserve it. But, Purdy thought they'd win that game. And now, without Purdy with the Rams, if they couldn't beat the Jaguars with Purdy, I'm not picking them to beat the Rams without him.
Look, it's a great point. We don't have to belabor it too much, but I will say these games with the Rams and Niners find a way to come down to the wire, even when you're running everything out, right? I mean, last year, the first game of this matchup with these two teams divisionally, the Niners were playing without McCaffrey, Kittle, and Ayuk in a game that Brock Purdy may have been his best game, maybe his best game on his ledger from a statistical standpoint. Juwan Jennings had 3 touchdowns. It was an epic game. And the Rams were also playing, I believe, without Cooper and Puka in that game. And it came down to the wire. Niners had a big lead in the fourth quarter. Rams stormed back and stole the game in regulation. But it was one of these games. We know McVay and Shanahan, it comes down to it each and every time. It seemed for a while that Shanahan had McVay's number in every game except the NFC Championship, of course, which was won by McVay in a year they won the Super Bowl against the Bengals. So I still see this as the Niners keeping it close. I don't even necessarily know why. I'll just say that they've looked incredibly functional with Mac Jones at quarterback. So I'm not going to say at this point that Brock Purdy for this season has outplayed Mac Jones to the point where it's worth 3.5 points. I don't see that. Bosa might be the bigger difference. They're hosting the Jags last week, and I thought they were going to win. I really thought they were going to win that game. I mean, the only reason it's great that you made that point because it is a look-ahead spot for the Niners. Niners know they got the Rams on Thursday. They're hosting the Jags. The Jags had to, as you said, fly across the country. It could have been one of those games the Niners thought, all right, we got this. Plus, they got their guy Purdy back. Didn't work out at all. So I expect this to be interesting tonight. I didn't quite ask you about Daniel Jones, but the way that the Rams beat the Colts last week with an 88-yard pass to Tutu Atwell, Rams are feeling good. Rams know that they're a blocked field goal away from being perfect on this season. And they're probably seeing right now a wounded opponent. But from that, I want to head to another game this week, JT. And for those that don't know, JT, you represent silver and black through and through. And our relationship started 29 years ago with what you're doing for the Raiders. But for those that don't know it, and most do, I mean, at your heart, at your core, you're a New York Giants fan. I mean, your G-Men is really what it's about. And you and I have never gone that far down the road on the Eagles, who I'm sure you can't stand watching win football games. They're perfect this season. My cousin sent a tweet out this morning. How many teams haven't lost a game in 2025? There's only one NFL team that hasn't lost a game in 2025. It's the Eagles. You don't want to hear that. But the tush push has been a big conversation. They're playing the Broncos this week. Sean Payton is he and the Broncos decided to not vote against the tush push. I just want to hear you, as not only somebody who's been covering this league for 3 decades now, but as a Giants fan also. You got every reason in the world to hate it. Where do you stand on the tush push?
Yeah, there's a couple of things here. First, there's going to be a landmark quote that I'm going to give you now. Landmark. I've never given this to anybody, so this is breaking news. Siciliano better buy an extra chicken parm for this. My allegiances are not to the Giants, it's the Raiders. I grew up a Giant fan. When the Raiders hired me, my allegiance went to the Raiders because just like a play-by-play voice, Greg Papa, who grew up in Buffalo, a Bills fan, when he got hired by the Raiders, his allegiance was the Raiders. Now his allegiance is the 49ers. And this happens all over the league, even to hockey guys who are fans of a team but get hired by a new team, and their allegiance is with that team. So I want to clear that up. Now, growing up as a Giant fan, yes, the only team that I root against in all of sports, I used to have this line I'd say I hate. Like the Red Sox tonight are number 1. On my Mount Rushmore of teams that I hated as a kid, now I dislike. It's the Red Sox, it's the Eagles. So it's the Red Sox and the Eagles, and they're identical. Almost died in an Eagles game as 16-year-old. The fan put me over the top of the 700 section. I was 17 or 16. The guy was 35. So he just was like, get out of here, and kind of threatened me. Put my neck over the rail in the upper deck. And I'm talking over the rail. He wasn't going to throw me over, but if he slipped, He would have been in the news. And so I hate the Eagles, but now I'm starting to go through life where I don't hate anything. And the Red Sox. The tush push, as a former rugby player, I played 4 years of college rugby. I'm cool with it because it's a play that no one else can stop. So everyone's bitching and moaning about a play they can't stop. And I've said this to you, I think, but I'll make it clear to this audience. All the Eagles have to do on this play is not push Jalen. He doesn't need to be pushed. His legs are the size of phone booths. So what gets Jalen over the top is when Kelsey was there and now the new center, the low push, which might destroy their vertebrae in their 50s and 60s when they retire, might destroy them. Secondly, there's no data on that, but that's true. And then when Jalen pushes, because he works out with offensive linemen and his tree trunk legs push forward, they can't stop the play. All Howie Roseman and Sirianni need to teach is you don't need a tight end and a running back to push. He doesn't need to push. Trevor Lawrence does. Geno Smith does. Everybody needs to push. So it's a quarterback sneak that no one's figured out how to watch. The other thing about it, as I'm running on here, is I think the Eagles cheat a little bit because they go early. And it should be a referee much closer to the ball, because they stand on the sideline, should be closer to the ball to see that the Eagles are snapping and going early. That's what I would ban. I'd call them the procedure more than that.
All right. A couple of things. And I think you laid it out very nicely because you're really of the philosophy that if you don't like it, stop it, right? I mean, ultimately,
right. I am.
If you don't like it, stop it. I like that, and it's for someone that's covered this league as long as you have the experience that you have watching plays like this. It's a quarterback sneak. Let's stop calling it something, so outrageous and so unique. It's a quarterback sneak. You're right about one thing. Cam Jurgens, who is now the center for Kelsey, and Landon Dickerson, who is right next to Jurgens. That's generally where they run it. They try to run it over Dickerson. And you're right. They create a crease, JT. They create a crease where really Jalen can kind of fit in that little crease, and he's got the momentum moving forward. They don't necessarily need to push. And as you said, they know when the ball is going to be snapped. That's all the advantage they need. It's in that second where they've got the advantage. They know it's being snapped. The defense doesn't. Once the defense is reacting late, the play is essentially over, and you've got the surge that you need. I don't like to see Andy Reid yelling about it. I don't like to see coaches in this league who I think have earned enough respect and have done enough in this league that the spilt milk part of it, I just can't stand. I'd like to stand by the theory that the rest of the league put the Packers up to this because they don't have any one singular owner, so it's easier to put this on them than I did originally when I heard about it. And I thought, oh, Green Bay's upset because the Eagles beat them in week 1 of 2024, then beats them in the wild card round, and now it feels like a spilt milk conversation. If the data comes out that this is causing harm, we can get there. But for the moment, I just got to say it's a tremendous play. And perhaps the Eagles are also listening because you saw the play they ran against Tampa where they lined up for it. Everyone thought they were surging forward. They stepped back. They pitched to Saquon. He walks into the end zone for a 10-yard touchdown. I mean, that was a beautiful use of that. And of course, they'll be able to do that. So enough on that. I want to
follow up one more point. I want to follow up one more point. All the Eagles need to do is get it back to a sneak, and it will go away, and they'll keep the play. Remember, their goal is to keep the play. It's unstoppable. So my whole point was there's probably been a number of tush pushes where the push from behind helped. I can't name which one, but it helped. Every time I see it, I don't see Jalen needing the extra push to move the pile. So I would get those guys out of there. I would get him out of there. I would let him get down and get really low because he's beautiful at it. He gets low. I go back to Trevor Lawrence again. I was talking about this topic on Jacksonville radio. Oh. Trevor Lawrence, when he lines up for a quarterback sneak, lines up straight. He doesn't even get down low. And when he snaps it, and Justin Herbert's terrible at it too. Justin Herbert, awful.
Herbert almost got injured. They ran the tush push once for him. He said, take it out of the playbook. Hated it.
Right. And that's why most teams don't run it because they don't want to get the quarterback hurt. We got Geno Smith out here. Geno Smith is so athletic, and they don't want to run that with him. Now they can because they're 1-3. If Geno gets banged up, put in Kenny Pickett. I hope that's not the case. But it's a quarterback sneak. So I think what's going to happen is they're going to ban it. They're going to 100% ban it. It's gone. And then the next year, the Eagles will line up in quarterback sneak mode 3 or 4 times a game, and he'll execute it 100% of the time. And people will bitch about it then that they're gaining an advantage when they're not.
It's a great point, and I'm sure that Stoutland, the offensive line coach, is already coming up with a way. I'm sure Sirianni has already put his entire staff on assignment. By the way, let's come
Yeah.
up with the way that we can do this, that it's legal, that no one can bitch, and we'll all move on with our lives. So I love that you set up you hate the Eagles, and that makes perfect sense. And that's what sports is all about. And again, not hating, but rooting for losses from other teams. Part of being an Eagles fan is rooting for the Cowboys to lose each and every week, and that's part of it. The Chiefs is another one that you've come to over the years. You're rooting every week for the Chiefs to lose at this point. You've seen enough of their run of dominance. And before we move on, because you brought it up so much, how do you see that Monday Night Football game? The Chiefs and Jaguars, they played some interesting games over the last couple of years. On paper, it looks like, wow, the Chiefs are just a better team than the Jaguars. But right now, yeah, the Chiefs put it on the Ravens in this last week. And the Jags had a big win, as we discussed, against the Niners. This is interesting. Liam Cohen, not Doug Peterson here. Chiefs haven't been exactly what we thought they'd be this season. Is this an opportunity? Are the Jags? They got a legitimate shot to win this game Monday night.
The Jags are in a position where they have a chance to win any game they play because they have really good players on defense. Their defensive players are really good, really good. And like their defense can line up their front with anybody. So that'll keep them in the game. I just think, even though I nailed the pick with Jacksonville over the Niners, Trevor Lawrence, I got buddies who live down there. So I'm always on a group text with like a bunch of guys who weren't originally Jaguar fans, but they relocated there and they like the team and follow the team. They are so down on Trevor Lawrence. They think Trevor Lawrence isn't even average. And I started diving into the numbers. At times, he's not even average. And that's shocking because he's got the height, the strength. He played in so many games in high school and college. It's not like he wasn't tested at Clemson as a great player. And then he's getting these contract extensions. He's not very good. And if Liam Cohen can't fix him quickly, like this year or next year, they got a problem on their hands because there'll be better younger quarterbacks coming out in the draft who are just better than Trevor Lawrence after year 6 or 7 if he doesn't win there. So I'm not going to go that far with Kansas City. I think Kansas City found something in that Ravens game, even though Lamar, how about the heat Lamar's getting? Did he quit? Oh, my God. Like, Lamar Jackson hasn't quit in anything in his life. If he had a hamstring issue, you trust him that he had it. Could he have played longer if it was the AFC Championship game? Yeah, he would have stayed in the game and became more of a pocket passer. But he came out of that game, and, man, he's even getting tested by Baltimore media. They're asking him at the podium, hey, what's going on here? And he won't play, it looks like, this week, too. So that's an interesting topic. And, Sam, one more thing I know we can go back to. I'm a segue guy. You mentioned why I hated the Eagles. I hated their fan behavior for most of my life. And I just, I don't like the Eagles because I think if you go there as an opposing fan, they verbally brutalize you the entire game. It's not just in the beginning and it's kind of fun. They verbally abuse you. And that's what happened in my hometown of Farmingdale, New York for the Ryder Cup. When the New York fans were so verbally abusive to Rory, Shane Lowry, and Rory's wife, that there were plenty of cops there. There were state troopers, and they didn't do anything about it. I'm embarrassed for my hometown, not my home state, for that behavior. And all of the United States and everyone involved in golf owes an apology to Europe, who, by the way, kicked our ass.
They wiped them. And so, by the way, I spend a casual amount of money betting on sports, just for fun once in a while. And my father-in-law is a massive golf fan, and he's constantly hitting me on, hey, you should make a bet on this, make a bet on that. He was thrilled coming into Ryder Cup thinking USA is going to run away with this. Go ahead and make the bet right now, make it happen. He was so embarrassed by that. I mean, he calls me the next day and he just goes, I don't know if you did that, Sam, but I just don't even know what to say for how lopsided this is. And I was stunned to see that. It's not, I mean, again, this is not the equivalent of, when hockey is in the Olympics and Canada's not winning a gold medal and it's like, this is our sport, not your sport. I don't think there's a lot of that between USA and Europe in that way, but wow, was that just, I don't even understand. I thought it was going to be such a moment because of Live Golf. I thought it was such a moment for the US golfers to come together and say, all right, we've had our issues, and now we're coming together for our country, and it couldn't have been any uglier, JT. I'm glad that you said that. And speaking of that, I want to lift your spirits from a New York fan standpoint right now. So you're down on the New York fans for what happened at the Ryder Cup.
Sammy, one quick thing quickly.
Yes.
Everybody in the chat saying that your microphone is super, super, super low or they can't hear. So just take a look at that for a second, because I think you're probably good. So you might want to just touch that a bit. And as you're doing that, I just want to say this again. Normally I fight for New York. Yes. I fight for New Yorkers. Like, I'm going to say, if New Yorkers act like drunk idiots, oh, but they're New Yorkers, like the Yankee game tonight. They're going to be lunatics, drunks, crazy, interfere with the baseball and all that, and I'll call it out. But that was nothing like I've seen before. And I've been at the golf course many times, and I'll go this far, because the Bethpage has got a PGA championship, which is a major, in 2030 something. If someone knows the date, put it in the chat. But the Bethpage Black, a gorgeous public golf course, should never, ever, ever get a major the rest of our life, because of what New York did and how pathetically rude and crude they were. And the president was there, and the Euros were there, and we all knew this was going to get a little bit heated. And it took Shane Lowry to tell cops and troopers, get rid of him, get rid of him. Those cops should have been getting rid of those people without a European golfer on American soil having to ask for help from the cops.
Well, it's ridiculous, and I can't even imagine that that's what's happening here. But JT, I got to say this much now. When we go from New York with as bad as it was to now, we've got the Yankees hosting 3 games in a wild card series against the Red Sox. And I said this to you, and I really was thinking it when they lost game 1. Had the Yankees lost 2 games in a row to the Red Sox, and that was the end of their postseason run, I don't even know where that would stack on the embarrassment in the Yankees. And by the way, we haven't had that many recent embarrassments for the Yankees, but I guess we can say game 5 against the Dodgers to blow that 5-0 lead.
Oh,
that was
absolutely.
That's on it. That's
absolutely
more of
that's
embarrassments for the Yankees. And of course, we'll go back to the 3-0 ALCS lead against the Red Sox. But the fact that the Red Sox again could have come in and taken the 2, but they didn't. And that is what matters, is that now that we can say 100% this game 3, what it's going to mean in New York, what the Yankees, the way they matter in that city, and what it's going to be in New York City for that game. Tell me, I know you're not going to be there. I know you're going to have friends and family there. What is it going to be like, and what is it going to take? And is this Yankees team poised to go on another World Series run, or are they going to let the Red Sox, your hated Red Sox, bow them out again?
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. So let me throw this at you to start. First off, I say this exactly like I would say this to the Dodgers. So I'm going to say this to the Red Sox, but please, it's the same thing for the Dodgers. The Yankees have kicked the Red Sox and Dodgers' ass for over a century. Neither of those teams combined, if you combine the Dodgers and the Red Sox, the Dodgers have 8 world championships. I don't know how many the Red Sox have. They recently had about 3 or 4. Go back to the early 1900s. Someone can figure the number out. Never combined can they catch the Yankees. But the last World Series, the Dodgers won. Tip my cap. They embarrassed the Yankees. Here's what's at stake in this game. The Red Sox can't make up for 120 years of getting their ass kicked by the Yankees. But if they win this game in the Bronx, in an elimination game, because if they won game 2, it would have been like nothing you've ever seen. Yankees lose 2 in a row at home. But if they toyed with the Yankees and gave the Yankees a game 3 just to fuck with them and beat them in game 3, and they're starting a bullpen guy tonight. I don't even know who their pitcher is. Cora saying they're going full bullpen game right out of the game. And the Yankees are going to try to counter that. But if you go back to 2004, that's the only documentaries I can't watch. Turn them off. Don't even look at them. Mariano Rivera, Dave Roberts stolen base. Then you go back to a couple of other recent beatdowns by Boston. This one would be high on the list because here's why. In theory, if they win tonight, Brian Cashman, the architect of one of their great dynasties, Aaron Boone, 100%. Boone's getting fired. and I know that people think I'm nuts when I say it, he's getting fired this time if he doesn't win this game. Cashman, they'll probably keep. And Boone said the other day, I think this is his 7th postseason, which is a lot. Shows you how many games the Yankees win. This is the best team he's ever had in the postseason. He went to the World Series last year. So I wouldn't be shocked if Boston won. But I'd be surprised tonight because the Yankees have everything going now with momentum. Their pitching's lined up. Their bullpen's good to go. Stanton should wake up. Judge has got a couple of hits and base hits. Chas Chisholm, Ben Rice aren't going to be benched like they were in Game 1. And Max Fried isn't going to be taken out of the game like in Game 1. If the Yankees can't close this game out tonight, it will be heartbreaking to me. I will be gutted and devastated, and I'll lose 3 more weeks of joy. I'll lose a best of 5 with Toronto. I'll lose a best of 7 in the ALCS, and I'll lose probably the best of 6 or 7 in the World Series. Big swing game.
Massive game. And again, the fact that it's the Red Sox, that makes a big difference. The mic should be working now much better. We figured out a couple things on our end. Thank you for that, JT. Beautiful. We're looking good. I want to say one thing, though, about Yankee fans. Baseball in general, most people are going to say that a baseball game is not at the level in the building as an NFL game, as a college football game, as a hockey game as well. But I want to make a big difference here, a differentiation that you can speak to. A Yankee game is not a baseball game. I want everyone to hear me with that. You go to any park in the world, and you and I spent Barry Bonds chasing 70 in the Bay Area in a brand new Pac Bell Park, okay? And that's fine. It was cute. Now batting, Rich Aurelia. I mean, we had some great times in that park, all right? But I don't know that there is a greater difference between going to the same event but at one venue as there is in the difference between going to a playoff game at Yankee Stadium versus going to any other game in any other park. Yankee Stadium, that's the widest gap there is, in my opinion, in all of sports, is a Yankee baseball playoff game versus any other park.
Right, let me get into that. That's another great topic. You teed me up. Old Yankee Stadium to newer Yankee Stadium, older Yankee Stadium, yes. But let's agree with that. What happens with the Yankees are the same thing that happens with the elite old school teams, that when they get closer to a championship, the level of fan interaction and intensity goes up high. So if the Jaguars get to the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, it's not going to be noticeable. But when the Yankees get to an elimination game in October, the level of anger from the fans, eye contact with the game, I'm not going to the bathroom yet, I'm staying here. Everybody fills up those seats behind home plate and doesn't get up. Magnifies. And when I see the crowd, when I grew up in the 70s, when Reggie hit the walk-offs, the 3 home runs and all that, you could see the level of the upper deck, of the density of the fans on top of each other, the volume of their body movements and intensity. Now we're starting to see that in the Bronx, and you'll see it tonight. Problem is, we got young people my son's age. My son's 21, my youngest. His whole life, other than 2009, he's never seen that. So when you turn on a Yankee game, you don't see the upper deck standing, going like this, like it's shaking. That could happen tonight against Boston, because the fans who are there and have those tickets, they ain't fucking around. These are the fans that are really, really invested with the team and have a history with it. So that's why I can't wait to watch it tonight. And I'm going to watch it in the pool with Modelo's, because it's 92 degrees. It started at 91. It's 92 degrees in Las Vegas, and you couldn't find a cloud outside if you had a telescope. It's like being in Maui.
I love that. And Backyard Brick is going to be rocking tonight one way or the other after that game. We are going to hear from JT. Go to JT's, follow JT on social media, because Backyard Brick, win or lose for the Yanks, is really my favorite version of JT, is a post-Yankee JT.
Now, I want to end by congratulating you. Tell the audience, some of mine, mostly yours, what your announcement is. You got a great gig. You're like a brother to me. We started a long time together. What a big announcement you got with the LA Kings. Tell us about it.
JT, I gave you earlier. I put on you that you are a Giants fan at heart, but obviously the Raiders fandom has come through over the years. I've got a big conundrum now in my life because I grew up a Flyers fan. As you know, my dad, Raymond, from Philadelphia. I was raised on all Philadelphia sports. Hockey's my number one. I'm a Flyers diehard, Legion of Doom, Ron Hextall fan. And now, with your, by the way, watching your career and where you've gone has been inspiration for me all along. And now, not only am I joining you in the ranks here on a mic in front of a camera, it's also silver and black, which I love. It's the LA Kings, the Raiders, obviously.
Yes.
The silver and black is beautiful on both of us. And I have an opportunity now to host Kings Talk after every single LA Kings game this season. I am their guy. You'll see me after every game. You'll see and hear me during the week on ESPN LA, which is the flagship of the LA Kings. I am the hockey guy, and I got to say, for all my life, just I appreciated being the hockey guy just for personal conversations I was having with you and tons of other friends. Now I get to do it professionally, and I am so fired up, and I've got you to thank with a few other people. But JT, thank you, because your journey has, again, been a humongous part of my journey. Thank you. I can't wait.
Well, I think it's a great way to end this because we had a different idea for the tip of the trade. Different idea, and I'm going to pivot. I'm pivoting on this.
I love it.
This is the tip. This is the tip of the trade. Wherever you get hired, no matter who your team is, your grandfather, your father's, as a broadcaster, if you're not a national broadcaster like Sean McDonough, or Kevin Harlan's a good example. He was the voice of the Packers, I believe, Chiefs, whatever you are. When you have a job and you get hired by a team, I got hired by the Raiders. I am 100%, and now I got 28 years to prove it. I'm a diehard Raider fan. And I didn't plan on that when I came in, but after the years. But the tip of the trade is, as a broadcaster, when you get a job and they pay your paycheck, you're a fan of that team, and you must, for the short term, not long term, cut the cord of that team, put them on the back burner, and you have to give everything you have to the team that you're employed for. So as we wrap it up for you, the tip of the trade is simple. You'll know when it happens. It's happened to me many times. Vegas Golden Knights versus Islanders. Raiders versus Giants. When the Kings this year play Philadelphia, it's going to be the test for you. And I hope, I know what you're going to do. You're going to be rooting for the Kings because that's your job, that's your team. And you got to be all in on the Kings beating the Flyers. It's going to be tough. It's going to play a little bit of a head game with you, but you'll understand the tip of the trade right when that puck drops.
JT, thank you for that. Each time we get together, we try to share a tip of the trade based on your incredible experience in this industry. And thank you for that one for me and for anyone else out there. And the way that I will somehow appease myself through this is to remind myself that when the Kings won the Cup in 2012, they traded for Mike Richards and Jeff Carter, both huge members of the Flyers. Justin Williams and Simone Gagne also played a humongous part of that Stanley Cup run for them. And in that moment, even I saw, in my lifetime, the Flyers didn't win a cup. The Kings did with members of the Flyers, and I think that'll be my moment. I'll be able to somehow turn that into the idea that the Kings won the cup a little bit with the Flyers, and that's it. I'm all in. I'm ready. I'm silver and black, and that'll be the way that I appreciate hockey moving forward. It's a tremendous tip, and we'll get into what it's like to be the therapist to millions of Raider fans through the years, which you have to do, and you do an unbelievable job of keeping your glass half full no matter what. Because guess what? What we get to do for a living is an incredible privilege, and it should never bring angst to anyone. We're here to enjoy all of this. You certainly have, and thank you for that amazing tip.
I've never thrown an interception for the Raiders, and I've never missed a tackle. So if Raider fans want to blame me because of a question I asked a coach or didn't, or they want to blame me, that's the least I can do for my bosses, the Raider Nation, is take the arrows, let the psychos and the crazies some way blame me for the losing, and I'll take the hit in the hopes that someday I'm standing on a stage with Mark Davis, if I'm lucky enough to, and the Super Bowl is being presented to Mark Davis and the Raiders. That will be the crown accomplishment of my sports life. Until then, we got to find a way to beat Daniel Jones, man. We got to beat Danny Dimes. We got to beat Danny Hiccups. We got to beat Danny Turnover. And if we do, man, I'll at least have a little bit of pleasantry next week.
Well, we got to say this much. I was so excited about Ashton Genty. What a game he had against the Bears. And I read a great piece,
Yes.
and I know you knew about it, but the way he stands actually next to Geno
Michael
makes
Myers.
a huge difference, right? He's got the upright stance down. It's changed everything. And so at the very least, we should have our eye on Ashton Genty. This is going to be an exciting one, JT. We love you.
Take care, guys. Go Yankees. Either way, follow me on all my platforms. I'm on Instagram at JT the Brick LV, YouTube, as you know, JT the Brick YT, and on X at JT the Brick.
Backyard Brick. We'll see you soon.